It begins with the sickening crunch of bones hitting concrete. Park Dio steps off the roof of Dan High School and plummets into the abyss. Below, another student, Jong Min, witnesses the entire horror. He sees everything. But this isn't a story about a weak boy giving up. Dio wasn't weak. He was the only soul brave enough to stand up to Jun Hyeon, the monstrous son of a powerful politician who ran the school like his own personal kingdom. Dio dared to defy him once. For that solitary act of courage, they utterly destroyed him. The teachers, they knew. Every single one of them watched it happen. But in a system rotted by influence, Jun Hyeon's father was a ruthless assemblyman. One phone call could erase a career. So, day after day, the faculty looked away while a boy was systematically beaten, publicly humiliated, and cornered until the only escape route left was downward. With Dio gone, the pack needs a new lamb. They target Jong Min, already hollowed out by the horror he witnessed. He is dragged right back into the meat grinder. We watch him walk to the exact same ledge, his fingers trembling violently against the railing. He looks down. He steps back by a fraction of an inch. And that is when he arrives. In a chaotic, crowded hallway, Jun Hyeon's enforcer, Kwon-soo, is beating Jong Min senseless. Suddenly, a shadow falls over them. A man steps forward. He doesn't ask questions. He doesn't issue warnings. He just swings. Students scramble, pulling out their phones as Kwon-soo hits the floor. Jun Hyeon screams frantically about assault, but the man doesn't even flinch. He grabs Kwon-soo and strikes him again in front of the entire student body before calmly adjusting his collar. Na Wajin, Inspector, Korean Educational Rights Protection Bureau. From this exact second, the old roles are dead. 1. The entire class holds an agonizing plague, until their muscles tear and bleed. 2. Jun Hyeon opens his mouth, a slap shuts it. 3. Jun Hyeon taints cafeteria food to prove his power. Wajin mops the floor with his face and forces him to clean the room. Wajin escalates, invading Jun Hyeon's pristine mansion. When the assemblyman threatens to destroy him, Wajin doesn't even blink. He drags the boy back to school by sheer force and throws him into the bathrooms to scrub toilets. Desperate, Jun Hyeon uses the only weapon he has left. He smashes his own head against the porcelain bowl, framing Wajin for brutal assault. The trap snaps shut. The assemblyman storms the school. The media circles like vultures. It looks like the corrupt elite will win yet again. But Minister Choi Gang-ok, the mastermind who created the bureau, doesn't fight in the daylight. He operates in the shadows. Within hours, a devastating digital bomb detonates. Every buried sin of the assemblyman's systemic bribery, hidden sexual assaults, corporate corruption, is leaked to every major news outlet in the nation. In a single afternoon, a dynasty crumbles. The politician is put in handcuffs. Jun Hyeon is stripped of his shield. He is completely, utterly alone. 2:57 The execution of justice. Driven to psychotic desperation, Jun Hyeon locks his former friends inside a classroom and strikes a match, intending to burn them all alive. Wajin doesn't try to extinguish it. Instead, he strikes his own match, igniting a second fire in the hallway. Trapped between two raging walls of flame, the monster who drove a boy to suicide finally shatters. He falls to his knees, weeping and begging for mercy. Wajin stands amid the smoke, staring down with eyes of cold stone. Live with regret. This wasn't just bloodlust. Dio's father had tried to beg for help, but the school, the police, and the state buried the truth, destroying his livelihood while his son died believing he was nothing but a burden. This is the birth of a new era. Justice born from a broken system that required a monster to fix it. The final shot cuts deep. Wajin and Gang-ok stand before a lonely grave. It belongs to a young woman, Gang-ok's daughter and Wajin's fiancé, murdered by a student 2 years ago. This is why they fight. This is why they will never stop. ## Chapter 2. The Meat Grinder. 4:11 Trapped in the slums. Imagine waking up every day just wanting to learn. You sit in the dark corner of the class, head down, praying to be invisible. Yet they find you. Every single day. A gang of predators forces you to fight your only friend. If you win, he gets tortured. If you lose, you become the punching bag. So, your friend takes the dive for you, and all you can do is watch him bleed. Welcome to Goon High-Tech School. Calling it an educational institution is a lie. It's a violent pipeline for organized crime. The teachers live in absolute terror. The hallways belong to the wolves. Enter Hyunju. A boy trapped here simply because his mother is too poor to send him anywhere else. To tear this gang apart from the inside, the Bureau deploys an undercover operative. Lim Junda. Junda plays a psychological game that will turn your stomach. He intentionally allows himself to be target practice. He takes vicious hit after hit, absorbing the brutality just to document every face, every strike, and every crime for a bulletproof case. 5:18 The breaking point. The tension explodes when Shang Huan, the school's apex predator, forces the two new kids into a makeshift ring. Hyunju looks at Junda, a complete stranger, and makes a choice. He intentionally drops his guard and takes the fall, sacrificing himself to shield the new kid. The retaliation is merciless. They use Hyunju's body for combat practice while the class watches in silence. Later, walking through the dark streets, Hyunju whispers the reality of the lower class. Asterisk. I didn't have a choice. My mom couldn't afford anywhere else. Asterisk. No escape. No hope. Just a child trapped in a concrete hell because of poverty. You see the shift in Junda's eyes. The mission is over. This is now a blood feud. Then the storm arrives. Now Wajin steps into the gym like the Grim Reaper. He orders every gang-affiliated student to sit. They laugh, charging him in a wave of blades and steel. It isn't a fight. It's an absolute slaughter. With bare hands, Wajin systematically dismantles them, breaking bones and shattering egos until the floor is covered in groaning bodies. But the true test arrives when the real syndicate's role in Jang Gu-hyuk and his hardened, adult organized crime syndicate. The battle in the rain. Villains. Jang Gu-hyuk plus heavy syndicate crew. Weapons. Steel pikes, blades, numbers. Versus Inspector Na Wajin, solo, black suit. Result, total annihilation of the syndicate using their own weapons against them. As the rain washes the blood into the drains, the very students who mocked authority are left sobbing on their knees. Hyunju breaks down. Not from the wounds, but from the overwhelming shock of realization. Someone finally fought for him. Wajin stands over the weeping thugs, his voice cutting through the downpour like a blade. If you're not here to study, don't come. And stop stopping others from learning. Chapter 3. The Digital Assassin. 7:25 The weapon in the pocket. She doesn't carry a blade or a gun. She carries a smartphone. Yet, that glowing screen has already ended one career, taken one life, and now it's aimed directly at her next target. This is the terrifying reality of social media weaponized by a psychopath. Before the chaos, we glimpse the past. Wajin walking with Jaein, his late fiancé. He watches her intercept a group of delinquent youths smoking in a park, her face radiant with the joy of a true educator. Cut immediately to the courtroom. The cold, unrepentant eyes of the minor who murdered her. His defense? Asterisk. I killed her because I loved her. Asterisk. The sentence? A pathetic 2 to 4 years. Driven mad by grief, Wajin tries to run the killer down right outside the courthouse steps. Ganoke deliberately crashes his own vehicle into Wajin's to stop him, gripping his collar through the shattered glass. Be patient. I'll become education minister. We'll build something that actually protects teachers. Asterisk. The influencer asterisk. That vow birthed the bureau. Now they face their most elusive target, Han Yurai. She is 17 years old, commands an army of 600,000 digital followers, and streams her lives during class as if the faculty are mere props. When her previous homeroom teacher, Mr. Ko, dared to tell her to put the device away, she executed him digitally. She edited a video to frame him for sexual harassment. It went viral in hours. He was doxxed, his family was hunted, and he ultimately took his own life. Yuri didn't shed a single tear. She simply selected her next victim. Miss Young, the replacement math teacher. Miss Young survives by transforming herself into a ghost, willfully ignoring the disrespect out of sheer, unadulterated terror. But predators smell fear. One night, Yuri corners the trembling teacher, demanding she participate in a live broadcast to publicly denounce the bureau to 600,000 viewers. Miss Young collapses into a hyperventilating panic attack. Wajin finds her shivering on the cold floor. He doesn't offer hollow platitudes. Instead, he speaks of his murdered fiancé, then hands her a phone displaying an unexpected interface. She shatters. The children hadn't abandoned her. They were just as terrified as she was, praying for a savior. The following morning, the atmosphere in the classroom shifts. Yuri demands the live stream. Miss Young stands tall, looks her dead in the eye, and says, "No." She commands the influencer to the chalkboard to solve a problem. Yuri sneers, refusing to move. Miss Young draws a disciplined stick and strikes her palm with a resounding crack. "I'm sorry, everyone. I shouldn't have let things get this far. But I'm going to fix it. From now on, you will answer me. You will listen. And if you do something wrong, I will discipline you every single time." The room falls into a stunned, breathless silence. In the doorway, Hanrim hides a dark smile. But a narcissist exposed becomes lethal. That night, Yuri tracks Miss Young to her high-rise apartment, brandishing a kitchen knife. In the violent struggle on the balcony, Miss Young loses her footing and plummets over the edge. Wajin lunges, catching her wrist at the absolute last second, both slamming violently into the structure below, but surviving. Hanrim disarms the hysterical teenager, gripping the bare blade with her own bleeding palm, her voice dripping with ice. Asterisk. "Don't you dare take the easy way out. Live with what you've done." Asterisk. To ensure total erasure, Junta completely wipes Yuri's digital existence. 600K followers vanish into the ether. In their place, the unedited, raw footage of her crimes is broadcast to the world. A life lost, a teacher nearly murdered, all ended by a digital executioner who finally ran out of retakes. ## Chapter 4. The snakes in the faculty. Think of the educator who shaped your soul, the one who stayed after hours, who believed in your worth when the world threw you away. Now, imagine discovering that their devotion was an act. Imagine learning they were systematically executing your future behind closed doors, all for a corporate paycheck. This is the story of the deepest betrayal of all. The Bureau is under siege. Political enemies hold massive televised press conferences demanding their immediate dissolution. But amid the political crossfire, a disturbing video surfaces from the prestigious Chakmyeon Foreign Language High School. The star student, Park Hyeon, is filmed violently assaulting Mr. Chin Sang-yeol. This case tears the Bureau's internal logic apart. Mr. Chin is a living legend, an educational saint whose online lectures literally helped Wajin pass his instructor exams. Hanrim watches in horror as Wajin appears to defend the man blindly. But Wajin isn't protecting a hero. He is dissecting a monster. Park Hyeon, the top-ranked student, refuses to offer a defense, coldly telling Hanrim to lock him away. But the moment she mentions contacting his parents, his composure shatters into violent rage. Something is deeply, profoundly wrong. Junta follows the money trail, and what he uncovers is sickening. The sabotage playbook. Step 1. Mr. Chin targets the top impoverished student, Hyeon. Step 2. A sudden PTA meeting is called. Hyeon's parents miss it. Step 3. Their family restaurant is targeted and shut down. Step 4. Hyeon's elite private tutors abruptly abandon him. The puzzle pieces lock together perfectly. The wealthy students in Mr. Chin's class all share membership in a highly exclusive, secretive academic syndicate. If Hyeon is suspended or expelled for assault, a billionaire's daughter named Young Soo-jang will automatically ascend into the top 10 rankings. The teacher wasn't educating. He was clearing the competition for cash. In a haunting prison visit, Jin sits across from a ruined Han Yurai. Through the glass, she drops a final truth bomb. Mr. Chin was her primary school teacher. He used the exact same psychological playbook on her years ago, twisting her into the monster she became. She sits in a concrete cell, while the architect of her destruction still wears a suit in a classroom. The Counter-Strike ***. Mr. Chin realizes the bureau is closing in and strikes with political precision. Utilizing his elite connections, he has Jin, Han Rim, and Minister Gang Ok arrested on fabricated charges of corruption and assault. The ministry is locked down. Gang Ok is framed for massive tax evasion. The enemy's strategy is flawless. Keep the inspectors behind bars until the final examinations conclude. Let Soo-jang cheat using a leaked answer key, and bury the evidence forever. They calculated every variable, except for Lim Junda. The overlooked undercover kid slips through the cracks. Hidden in the shadows, he intercepts Mr. Chin handing the master answer key to Soo-jang's mother. That night, while his mentors sit in iron cells, Junda infiltrates the secure vault of the high school and performs a masterful switch. He swaps out every single exam sheet. The stolen key is now a weapon of self-destruction. The fall of the ivory tower ***. Soo-jang walks into the examination hall, smugly writing down the pre-memorized sequence of answers from her palm. Every single answer she writes down results in a 0. The heavy doors of the school burst open. Jin and Han Rim walk down the center aisle, completely exonerated. They play the audio recordings of the bribes over the school speakers and display Soo-jang's fraudulent paper to the faculty. Jin, the man who swore an oath to protect teachers, confronts Mr. Chin. He strips off his jacket and beats the academic icon into the floor with his bare hands. Because some predators don't deserve the protection of the title. Simultaneously, Gang Ok drops the hammer at the Board of Education, revealing that the very politicians attempting to dismantle the bureau were receiving kickbacks from Mr. Chin's academic syndicate. The rot went straight to the parliament. In the final, devastating sequence, Jin drags a handcuffed Mr. Chin to the maximum security visitor room. Across the glass stands Yurai, screaming with absolute rage. "You ruined my future because of your greed." The man who was supposed to be a guardian of youth is left staring into the eyes of the monster he created. Outside, Park Hyun bows deeply to the bureau, his future restored. The realization hits like a physical blow. The wolves aren't always wearing school uniforms. Sometimes they stand at the front of the class folding the chalk,